It's great to have you with us today. Thanks for joining in to the live show. I'm Rick Newberry and looking forward to a great show today. So, as you're joining in along the way, just like we've done in the other shows, tell us what school you're representing so that we know where you're from, the school you're located and working at. We'd love to just see who's in our audience today and to know that a number of you will be joining in. I've had a great opportunity over the past month to do about 10 of these live shows. And it's been a great opportunity to interview a wide range of educational experts, school case studies, to be able to hear and learn from others in this educational industry. So I've enjoyed it, and I hope you have too along the way, and certainly look forward to hearing more from our special guests today. And we've got a great group, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about them in a few minutes here. But as you know, I've been doing this live show for 4 or 5 weeks. And so I have shows on a Monday and a Wednesday, and I'm going to be transitioning to doing one show a week. I wanted to start out initially, since I've been at home and haven't been traveling, to have these shows, to do them twice a week, because I think it's been very informative to you all to be able to hear thoughts and perspectives from these educational experts and these case studies from these schools. So I'm going to be taking next week off. Not completely. I'm going to be working with all the schools that I'm coaching. But in terms of the live show, I'm not going to hold that next week. And then going to be moving to a new day and time frame the following week. And I'll make that announcement through my blog. So you'll hear more about that. But it's probably going to be transitioning to Thursday. And because typically when I'm traveling and visiting and working with schools, I'm doing that in the beginning part of the week. And so having the show at the end of the week is better for me along the way. So I know we've got some people joining in, and so it's great to see you online. So as you join in, tell us what school you're representing and the part of the country or the world that you live in. And great to be able to hear from all of you. So Karen's here from Union Catholic High School in New Jersey. So great to have you, Karen. And Sandy's here from Florence Christian in South Carolina. And Angie is from Louisiana at Episcopal School. And Kim is here from Lake Center Christian in Northeast Ohio. And Rudy Gesh is here from Eastern Christian. Rudy was one of my first guests in my very first broadcast live show that I did earlier this month. So it's great to have you back, Rudy. And Don is here from Academy of the Sacred Heart in St. Charles, Missouri. So great to have you here. And Susan is also joining us from Whittle in DC. So it's great to have you, Susan. And Michelle is joining in from All Saints Day School in Carmel, California. So it's wonderful to see a diversity of schools represented in different parts of the country. And again, as you're joining in, tell us what school you're from and where you're located, and I'll be able to acknowledge you on the show. And Sandro's here, and Sandro's been following me on the live show. I think I see him on every live show. So it's great to have you, Sandro, from the Darrell School in New York. And Kelly is here from Ben Lippen. So great to have you, another Kelly. So you're going to be meeting Kelly Adams in a few minutes here. And then Barbara's joining in from Dallas, Texas. Great to have you. And Amy from Christian Academy in Knoxville. I'm working with Amy and the team there at CAK and helping them with their enrollment and marketing efforts. So thanks for joining us today, Amy. And again, let us know what school you're representing. And if you've appreciated this live show format, certainly, click on the like, show your love. And that helps to encourage me on that this is important and being able to meet a need in your world. And of course, my mom and dad are on. And so I can always count on my mom and dad joining in from Nashville, Tennessee. And so thanks, Sandro, for your comments about how you love the live streams and that they're very insightful. And, it's all because of my guests, because they have a powerful story to be able to share. And so that's how we can learn, is by hearing from other people along the way. And Lisa, thanks for joining us from Timothy Christian in Piscataway, New Jersey, another school that I'm working with. And Margaret is here from Ben Lippen. So Margaret's a key member of the Ben Lippen team. And I couldn't fit everybody from Ben Lippen on the show today because I'm limited to only have 3 guests for this show, but grateful that you're joining in and supporting your peers in this live broadcast today. So we have a special show planned for you, and I want to highlight for you our guests. And what I've been trying to do recently, this week, is to be able to showcase some different schools and their stories. And the Ben Lippen School in Columbia, South Carolina is a school that I've had an opportunity to work with. And so they've done a phenomenal job of implementing a significant strategy with their enrollment and marketing effort. They've seen growth, and we're going to hear about that during the show today. And so I want to introduce to you my team members, not my team, but the Ben Lippen team that's here with us today, and they're going to be able to share their thoughts and perspectives on the school. So we're going to start with Tony Fajardo. Tony is their head of school. And so, Tony, great to have you.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me. We look forward to being here and spending some time with yourself. And you've done so much for us, and just to share what God has done at Ben Lippen School.
Excellent. And Tony, we got to go back several years. So you hired me to help when you were a head of school at another school in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then when you took on the position at Ben Lippen, you brought me in to help you. So you're one of those, head of schools that hired me twice. So I appreciate what you've done and how you've helped me along the way. And I've been able to help the Ben Lippen team. So thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to make sure you're working, and you're still working. And so I'm glad that we can serve you in that way. But you have served me and my teams in the past very well. And, anytime that I get a phone call regarding admissions or enrollment or marketing, Rick Newberry is the first name I utilize on my list to reach out to and send people out to, because I think you do a phenomenal job communicating, and you do it so well. And I think it's easy to understand. And it really has helped my programs personally move forward. And we're just excited to be a part of this.
Excellent. Thanks, Tony. I really appreciate that. And I did not pay you to say that. So I appreciate those kind words. Definitely. And a key member of your team is Kelly. Kelly Adams is the director of admissions. So welcome, Kelly.
Hi, Rick. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us. We're excited.
Excellent. Kelly, how long have you been at Ben Lippen?
I have been a parent at Ben Lippen for 22 years. We have a daughter that graduated in 2011 and a son in 2013. We have a current 10th grader, and I've worked here since 2006. So I'm ending my 14th year as admissions in the admissions department. Excellent.
Well, that longevity certainly helps. And, Tony was able to walk in 3 years ago and have you as a key part of the team. So that's always critical for the success as a head of school, to have a strong admissions director. So, and Kelly, I've enjoyed working with you and seeing your excitement, and love for your school, and that passion comes out all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, we have Rebecca. Rebecca is the director of digital media. And so great to have you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Rebecca, how long have you been at Ben Lippen?
I have had kids at Ben Lippen. I have a senior graduating this year, and so we have been at Ben Lippen for 9 years, and I have worked at Ben Lippen for 4.
Okay, excellent. And I love the background with the trees swaying and the birds chirping, and Ben Lippen is located in Columbia, South Carolina, so it's a great southern location, and grateful that you can be here as part of this live broadcast today. So thanks, Tony and Kelly and Rebecca, for being a part of the show today. So we want to just hear a little bit more about Ben Lippen and some of the strategies that you've been implementing. And so I thought we would just start with hearing more about Ben Lippen, especially in the last few years. How has the school grown? What are some of the things that you've been able to see happen at Ben Lippen over the last few years?
Rick, that's a great question. I think I always like to start, as much as possible from the beginning, because Ben Lippen has a great heritage in Christian education. If you've been involved in Christian education for a long time, you've heard the name Ben Lippen School. It started in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina. And it really started with 3 praying ladies that were a part of Columbia International University. And they wanted to see this growth into this idea of serving missionary kids. And so those 3 praying ladies went and just asked the Lord to provide an opportunity to continue to reach young people through Christian education. And so the school started in Asheville, North Carolina, and then it moved to Columbia, South Carolina, I think around 83 or so. And so with that process, the idea for us is we've been trying to serve the Columbia area now and trying to really establish ourselves as a solid Christian school over the last 30 years or so. And we've really been able to push ourselves and get ourselves, our name out there in a really solid way. There's been, I came into this 3 years ago. And as I entered this 3 years ago, I'm thankful for the foundation of other leaders that were in my seat that were able to move this program forward, put great people in place. I always talk about people, programs, and processes. And I'm thankful for the idea that great people were put in place that we can hit the ground running and really see the tremendous growth in enrollment that we've had over the last couple of years.
Excellent. And tell me a little bit about the enrollment and how the school has grown. We'll get Kelly started here, and because that's her excitement and passion.
No, well, I started in 2006, and I was kind of looking back through, the reports, and kind of went up and down, and then had I think across the board, a lot of schools saw decline. And at that point in time, my boss then, challenged me, do an area school report of all the schools around your neighboring area. And it started a connection where I worked with other schools, and then I would go out and visit other schools in other counties, other cities, and across the state. I would say that by the time, 2017 is kind of where I'll start from there. We kind of plateaued, and Tony Fajardo came in as our headmaster. And as I share with lots of people, the Lord is good, because each headmaster, I've been under 4, and they've all been supportive and amazing at all points of the stages, and were the right person for the job at that time. Tony came in, and we needed growth, and we needed direction and a vision. And he is a visionary. And you'll hear about some of that later. But I remember that day for 3 hours, we sat, and I was hearing his story and learning about him. And, the only access outside of Ben Lippen, other than my visits to schools, was the RenWeb conferences. And, I would go to those, I'd go to the webinars, I'd learn as much as I could, I'd read blogs. And so Tony's sitting there, and he's given his heart for admissions, his heart for enrollment, the Lord, and what he wants to see. And he's like, I'm admissions. That's my heart. And one of the first things I want to do when I come in is have a friend of mine. Now, you know where I'm going. Have a friend of mine come in and consult. And I was like curious. I thought, okay, this is a first. Who are you bringing? And he said, Rick Newberry. And I say that with as much pride and excitement because I had watched your blogs. I had been to those RenWeb conferences and learned as much as I could. I would come back excited. And I felt like I would just kind of stop. You only move as forward. Tony came in, we hired you, and we hit the ground running, and we haven't stopped. And it's grown every year since then. So we're over 800 for the first time in April for re-enrollment and enrollment. We since 2004. So we are hitting milestones that are incredible. And all of that because I feel like, and I always have, that it needs to come from the top. It's got to start from the head, and it flows down through your faculty and your admin and your team. And I really and truly, for Ben Lippen, know we're where we are today because of not only the Lord, but because he is woven into the fabric here. And we all are passionate about what we do. We're called to be at Ben Lippen, and enrollment. And I know I'm on my roll here, but we're a team that works together. And through hiring you, I was doing it by myself for 10 to 12 years. And when you came and we started working with you and Tony, the leadership behind hiring Margaret and adding 2 to the admissions team to where we can do what we're passionate about, and that's working with families one-on-one and having a personal touch with everything that we do.
Yeah. Thank you, Kelly. I didn't expect you to say all that. And that's, I almost want to, wipe the tears out of my eyes because of the, the passion that you're sharing that with. And, I appreciate the opportunity that I've had to be a part of your team. And that's how I view myself. I'm a partner with schools like yours to come alongside and be able to help take you to that next level. So appreciate those kind words. Definitely.
She did say that I called you friend, so I did give you a level up.
Well, and I have to say something about this team. I have, video coaching calls with the schools that I'm working with, much like this. And there's never been a team that I've laughed so hard, with, and that's this group. We would have meetings where we would just be like rolling on the floor in laughter. And I think that laughter helps to keep us going as well, because that can be a lot of pressure, when we're dealing with enrollment and marketing and, running a school. And so I guess a team that laughs together stays together, maybe that's a new saying. So let's talk a little bit about your staff structure in your department. So Rebecca, we haven't heard a lot from you yet. So we're going to put you on the spot and, give us an overview of your position and who works with you to help in the marketing communications areas.
I'm the director of digital media. I report to Tony, head of school, directly. I work very closely with Kelly and Margaret in admissions, but I feel like I work closely with everyone in the school because I cover the whole school in marketing. And so I work with the lower school principal, the middle school principal, the high school principal, the academic directors, the spiritual life director, the fine arts director. It's just me tasked to, on paper, tasked to social media, the website, basically our digital marketing. But I couldn't do it without Kelly and obviously not without Tony's support. But I get so much from all of our different areas. Our STEM coordinator does a project and she'll take pictures of it and email that to me so that I can then share it and promote it and tell our whole community about what we're doing in STEM. So that's basically, like I said, it's just me, but not.
And Rick, one of the things that I think is important for those that are watching, we don't have a big team. We really don't. We want to be good stewards of what God has provided us. And so we have, again, we had great people in place already, and we wanted to make sure they were in the right seats on the bus. And so we moved them around to the right seats. It's taken a little while to tweak those seats. And then to Kelly's point earlier, we did bring someone into admissions to help her out because we saw the number of inquiries were starting to climb, and we weren't reaching the touch point as we needed with everybody. And so we needed someone else for that. And then Rebecca and I work closely on the marketing side. She does the digital side. I do all the outbound traditional things from my office currently. And so we have a small team, but like I said before, we have a structure that allows us to say, we can't do it all. But what we're going to do is pick the things we do well and do those really, really well.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. And how often do you guys meet together as a team? You described a lot about how you're working together. Maybe you just, yell out around the corner to each other, and get things done that way. But what's that structure like in terms of meeting and planning and figuring out what to do together as a team?
So we have what I call an IA team, which is an advancement team that I bring together, and we meet every other week. And in between those meetings, then we'll go to each other's office, have conversations. The ladies know they have access to my office at any point. To me, the touch point between our families and how we can communicate with our communities is the most important thing. We can't do anything on this campus if our enrollment is not steady and our retention is not strong. And so they have access to my office, whether during the day or in the afternoons after school's out. They can come in and hang out. We can catch up in conversation. But we meet as an IA team every other week. That's the planned schedule. Kelly Adams and I meet every Monday at admissions with Margaret, and as part of that team. And then Rebecca and I just constantly are talking. Pass by her office, she comes by mine. We don't have a set meeting between us because she's constantly on the go, trying to get things done and accomplished. And as Kelly and Margaret work together, I do my first meeting on Monday morning, every Monday morning, is to make sure that our admissions process is on the go and we're all on the same page.
And that's actually a great segue to the next question, Tony, because I wanted to focus in on the role of the head of school, how you're involved in leading the team, because Kelly said in the beginning, it really starts at the top, and then you're able to focus in on the vision and motivating your people and getting them involved and providing that accountability. So maybe speak to that a little bit from your own experience, the importance of the role of the head of school in this process, as well as what you would advise other heads of school to be involved in.
First of all, I want to say that I've been blessed. The schools that I've worked for have had great admissions directors. They've done a great job. One of the things that I think is really important, I share this, is to understand that admissions it's not just about one person. As a head of school, I really have a true belief that the admission is about the entire school being a part of that process. The head of school leads that process and leads the emotion and leads the understanding and the vision of the importance of admissions to the entire school. But really, the faculty have to buy in that every decision they make in the classroom, every conversation they have with parents, every email they send is part of the admissions process. It's part of connecting our families to help them understand that the value they're receiving is above and beyond what their tuition is. And so I think that has to be the overall arching piece of it. As the head of school, the key for me has really been to identify great people, empower them to make sure that they do their jobs really well, and hold them accountable through the process, that we can together work in a process that everybody understands their job, everybody understands what our goals are. We have goal sheets, admission goal sheets that we work together with. We have things that you have provided for us, Rick, for our team. And to me, the job is not about how much I push them or move them or tell them what to do or not to do. For me, it's really to listen. Where are we at? How can I serve you? What resources can I provide as a head of school? And then encourage others around our admissions office of the importance of our role in moving our school forward with admissions.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you sharing that. I don't know, Kelly and Rebecca, if you all want to share anything about the role of Tony or head of school in this enrollment and marketing effort from your perspective.
I think, like Kelly already said, we couldn't do it without it starting from the top. I mean, without Tony, we would have no power. So he empowers us to do the things that we see or that we might hear about that might drive enrollment or drive new inquiries, anything like that. And without his support, we would not be able to do any of the things that we do.
And like I said, I mean, he from day one, and we were talking earlier, I went around, I said, okay, I got to lay eyes on you. I got to get excited about this. This is the first one I've ever done. And his door's always open. He is never in a place of intimidating us. I mean, we throw ideas out, we get together, when we're together, we're honest. If it's not something we need to do, I oftentimes feel like we need to be doing more. We need, I hear something and it's, what can we do new? And he's like, you know what? Let's stay the path. Let's do what we do well. And it brings me back to doing that. I mean, he's very supportive as a head of school. And I think we're all on board. Without students, we can't grow. We can't move forward with the programs and the hiring and of new faculty. And so I think we've all realized that we all play a part in enrollment. No matter what your job is, it's first impressions. It's who we are, doing it with excellence across the board. Margaret and I can do all those pieces up to enrollment, but it's after enrollment what happens. And I think he empowers everybody, faculty, admin, directors across the board, to realize that we all play a part in that long-term plan.
Yeah, it's so true. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of schools and seen hundreds and hundreds of teams and heads of school, and Tony is definitely one of the best from my perspective in terms of his leadership style, his approachability, his vision for the future of a school, empowering the team. And I believe that enrollment does rise or fall based upon leadership. And so you're seeing that at Ben Lippen. So Tony, I appreciate you and all that you're doing there at Ben Lippen. You have a great team and a great school, and it's all working together. So let's talk a little bit about admissions. What do you see as some of your most effective admission strategies? If you were to highlight 2 or 3, these are core strategies and most important and most effective strategies that you're working on and implementing.
You want me to start?
Are you the director of admissions? See, this is an example of how we would laugh,
Well, I do like to talk.
Make sure you put a time limit on it.
I know, exactly. Right. Okay, the timer's going.
Oh, no. I would say where we are today has a lot to do with when we brought you in, we got our full report and we looked at what we needed to do. And one of the first things that Rebecca and I did, and Tony approved and we went forward with, and I have to give credit where credit's due, because I will say it kind of jump-started the excitement. Rebecca was with me before she was with the social media, so she was helping in admissions, and we went and visited Rudy Gesh at Eastern Christian, and this is where I get emotional because he just was amazing. The interaction, how open he was, sharing so many different things of what they do in New Jersey. And yes, we're in a different town. We're in a different state. Our community is different than a lot. But I came back, we both came back so excited about the things they were doing and realized we can do these things. We can keep it simple and do what we do best. And he shared a lot of things that they were, and I would say from there, we started creating kind of a pathway of storytelling. And I'll let Rebecca go more into that. But I would say one of the largest strategies for admissions is our touch, our personal touch. We don't spend a lot on marketing on the outside, and Tony can go into that a little bit. But I think we pride ourselves in the admissions department with the personal touch. We get in touch with inquiries as they come in. We started the lead nurturing emails, and Rebecca works very hard with that piece of it, that we funnel those emails and are getting in touch with families within a 24-hour turnaround. A lot of times I heard Lori on Monday with Brook Hill, we'll shoot an email on a weekend. We don't work on the weekends and we try not to do too much activity, but sometimes just getting that email and responding and someone saying, hey, they saw my email, they're in touch with me. One of the things we did was stopped, and Tony, I was skeptical. We stopped mailing information packets. It requires us to get in touch with that person by phone faster and work at getting them on campus, because we've noticed with our community, if we get them on campus, more than 90% of the time, they're putting in an application within days. Showing our faculty. We also, another school that I've worked really closely with is Alicia Brown at Charlotte Christian, and started a group. And I did not come up with this, but the group called New, and it was her baby, but it's New, Embraced, and Welcomed. And it is your parent ambassador team reaching out to those new students as they enroll, those new families from the beginning of when they enroll, and getting them connected so that they feel a part before the first day of school. So we started enrolling in the fall. So it's helped to get families connected long before they ever start school, but they feel a part of a school before that day comes. Rebecca, I'll let you share a little bit.
Yeah, one question before Rebecca goes, but are you using text messaging in your follow-up with prospective families?
We have not started text messaging.
Okay.
That is one program I have not figured out yet. I've started live chat. So we have added live chat onto our website as a tool to get inquiries. And then we also use North Star for Unbounce. They have landing pages as well. So we have several avenues of inquiries coming in, but a big part of ours is the word of mouth with our current families.
Sure. Okay. Very good. So let's transition and talk about marketing. So Rebecca, maybe you can share some of the most effective marketing strategies. Kelly mentioned storytelling, for example, and so just you're doing a lot of great things, and so highlight some of those areas.
Well, like you said, the storytelling is huge for us. It helps me be able to maximize the content that I have, especially as basically a one-person team, because I can create stories based off of questionnaires or based off of things that others send me, information that others send me, stories that others send me, and I can put those on our website, which helps update our website content regularly. And then I also post those to our social media platforms, which right now include Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So we do several different categories of stories. We do family stories, alumni stories, we do student highlights, we do teacher stories, and then kind of a Ben Lippen life, which is more of a catch-all. There are a lot of different types of stories in that category, but most of those are driven by questionnaires that I send out or that Kelly sends out. She usually helps me with the family stories. She does surveys that she sends out to our current families, and this past fall, we did specifically our new families to find out what helped them choose Ben Lippen over all of the other options. And that was one of the social media campaigns. We turned that into a social media campaign in September, which was Why Ben Lippen. And so each new family we spoke to just gave us a sentence and said, this is why our family chose Ben Lippen. And that
I love that campaign because you think about all these families in your school, and they're coming in, they're choosing Ben Lippen. They have a story to tell, and so you're capturing that story, and now you're communicating that on your website and social media. That helps to attract other families to your school.
Yes, and in that case, with especially the new families, but also with our current families, working very closely with Kelly and Margaret is key, because I don't know the new families like they do, and I used to know everybody, and now my kids are getting older, and I'm not in admissions anymore, and so I don't know. I know almost everybody, but some of the newer families I haven't had a chance to meet, and so I rely on Kelly and Margaret to help connect me with the ones who have a story to tell. All of them have stories to tell, but those who are willing to share, Kelly connects me with, and we try to post those. We do, like I said, we did that new family campaign, Why Ben Lippen, in September, and that was predominantly because it was just a one sentence answer. We just did that through social media, but through our website, we do the family stories, and the way we do those is Kelly sends out surveys to a number of different families. And then she gives me access to any responses that come in. And then I work directly with those families to get those stories put on our website and in social media. I try to do one a week. I've already got this week's written, so I'm excited. I'm a little ahead of the game this week. But again, Kelly's key there. But the other stories vary. Our alumni stories are typically done by our alumni office. I don't really do much more there than just publish them. Our alumni office does all the legwork there. But then our student highlights, a lot of times that comes to me from a principal or anybody throughout the school. I'll have a teacher stop me in the hall and say, hey, did you hear about Jenna, who has her own business and she gives all this money to support cancer research, and she's done this since she was 10 years old. And I'll say, wow, I had no idea. Let me get in touch with her. And so then we'll do stories like that. Or our robotics team just won a state championship, and we're so excited about that. So I worked with the head of the robotics team to get that story written. I'm not up on my robotics lingo, so it was a lot of back and forth there with trying to get all the details cleared up, make sure I was right, accurate on every little thing, and had to be corrected a few times. But
and that was one of the key strategies, Rebecca, as you know, I was working with you all to have you think about the power of storytelling. And so you all intentionally included that in your new website at the time. So if you go to the Ben Lippen website, you'll see I believe it's the second menu item. It says stories. Click on that, and you'll see everything that Rebecca's talking about, all the different categories. Have you counted how many stories you have on your website?
Not recently, especially lately. I've been posting 2, occasionally 3 a week. So just in the last month, they're probably 8 to 10 with us. Teachers have a little more time right now because they're home, working from home and teaching from home. So that I've had some responses to the teacher surveys where the teachers didn't have time to respond to me before now. And I've also started new staff stories because we've never covered our staff or our administrators before. When I moved into this role, we had one person trying to manage all marketing, and she wasn't able to do as much with the social media and the website as she wanted to. And so we've been able, with me focusing on digital media, we've really been able to add things like these stories. And that was thanks to you, Rick. I mean, we've gotten so many strategies directly from you, and other schools are implementing. And so we've had examples to go by, which has been wonderful. I don't feel like I'm having to start from scratch.
Well, I want you to know that I always use Ben Lippen as an example when I'm showing them what a school should do with its storytelling strategy. Because you guys have the model. And I think I counted recently, you have well over 100 people's stories in that section of your website. I think I was counting up to like 120 recently. And so
we have 5 categories. That makes sense because I do try to do a teacher a week and a family a week if I can, but we have been doing it since you first came to see us almost 3 years ago. So that's 3 years of stories that we didn't have before. And I think it really helps us reach different people in the community. Everybody has their own story. Everybody can relate in different ways. Everybody wants to hear something different. And so I think the volume of stories helps people really relate more to our school. It shares information, but it also helps people say, oh yeah, I can see myself at Ben Lippen, or I can see my child at Ben Lippen.
Exactly. The power of story is so important. It's a core enrollment and marketing strategy, and you guys are doing it well. So, and Rebecca, you're a one-person department. So that's what I tell other schools too. If you can pull this off, so can all these other schools out there, because it's an effective strategy, and it gives Tony, you stories to share and tell, and same with you, Kelly, and the admissions effort. And
yeah. And with Tony and Kelly, I mean, Tony says, hey, you have the power to say that the headmaster says you need to do this. So that helps immensely. And then, of course, Kelly, like I said, Kelly helps get stories. She tells me about things that are going on because she's so connected with all the students and with their families. And so they really provide a great support, even though I am technically just a one-person department.
One of the things we did, Rick, recently, because Rebecca is a one person, is trying to help her find content. And I tell her often, I don't know where you come up with all of these stories. I don't know how you have all the words in your dictionary, because, I mean, they all have to be different. You can't have that common theme. But we also looked at the pocket of where we need more students, what grade levels. And so probably about 3 weeks ago, Rebecca, I chose 2 grade levels and we sent out a survey to those families currently in those grades and asked specific questions so that it would give her content to do a Friday or, a highlight story for that grade level to try and connect families who are in that grade now or going into that grade, a connection piece to, well, wait a minute, we're in that. That's what we were thinking about. Telling why they chose Ben Lippen for that grade level, to try and give her some content and new content for new stories.
That's a great way to do it. Tony, were you going to say something?
Yeah, Rick, and I know there's folks on here. I wanted to make sure that these ladies are doing a phenomenal job. I think the key also is we do spend money on more traditional, marketing. We don't spend an abundant amount of money, but we do the print and we have a couple billboards out and we have stuff on the radio. But a lot of our time and energy has gone into the social media side of things. We spend money. When I first came in, our website was all over the place. And so we spend money, and you remember that, but we spend money on our website to make sure it's clean and it's easy for parents to navigate. And we've also had, some Facebook ads, ebooks, we did an ebook. So the things that they've probably heard about, if they've been on your show, we've implemented a lot of those things, but really what we've chosen to do is simplify the process and do what we can do. We can't do it all. And so do what we do and do it really well. And a lot of that has been connection with people and letting other people help us in the marketing process, not just be doing it ourselves. And Margaret Porter has played a huge part in that in the admissions office. She does such a great job connecting with the elementary families, being one-on-one, providing individual attention to those elementary families. Because one of the things I did after Margaret had the training through Kelly. Kelly had been here for 13 plus years. And when she received that training, what I try to do intentionally is I put Margaret over only elementary, and then Kelly now has all secondary, 6th grade or 5th grade through 12th grade. And so that has given them a real focus. And the other thing that has done is given our parents a straight connection with who the parents going to be dealing with. And that really has helped make more connection through those areas.
Yeah, that's great. And we want to make sure we give our audience an opportunity to ask a question. So if you have something you want to ask of Tony, Kelly, or Rebecca, feel free to add that into the comment section. And I did make mention of the Ben Lippen website. So you want to go check that out. And I know we've had some other people join us. So Deborah's here from Providence Academy in Arkansas, school I'm working with. Mary is here along with Jamie from Portersville Christian up in the north of Pittsburgh area, another school I'm working with through my virtual program. And then Julie's joining us from Rogers Park Montessori in Chicago. So grateful that you all could be a part of our show today. So as you're thinking of any questions you want to ask, I am curious of the group. How have you been adjusting your enrollment and marketing strategies in light of COVID-19? Any intentional shifts or pivots that you put in place to be able to reach people in a digital virtual world?
Yeah, I think I'll let Kelly answer the question here in a minute, but I think what we did, first of all, is we had to gather together very quickly and say, how are we going to adjust to the ever-changing times? Because we have to believe that, the future of admissions, just like the future of education, whether Christian or public school education, has shifted upon us very quickly. And things are not going to be the same way ever again. And so we've had a lot of conversations about transitioning virtually to tours and on campus and things like that, so that parents can still be able to connect. Zoom meetings, but I'll let Kelly talk about that. But that was a little bit of a challenge for us initially. How do we do something that we've never done before?
We right off the bat put together a virtual tour that we added, that Rebecca added to the website. But we also have changed our page to have Zoom meetings. We added Calendly a while back so they can go in and schedule a Zoom meeting. I think Margaret's had a couple that want to schedule one with her to where she can talk with them face to face. In the high school, mostly it's all been by phone, and we have a lot of conversations. They're able to reach us at any point in time. Our phones are forwarded so that we can be contacted at any point in time. There's not a lapse in messaging. As far as we've added live chat to the website, so we've had quite a few come in through there. But we just make ourselves available. We're here to do whatever works best for the family. For me in admissions and for Margaret, our families aren't a number. Our students aren't a number. They have a story. And we realize, for me, as for the 14 years I've been here, I want families to have what my family has been so blessed to have. Through Ben Lippen, for their children to be able to be a part of an amazing school that teaches the Lord in everything that we do, and we do it with excellence. So from the time they call, from the time they email, from the time they show up on campus, we want to welcome them with a warmth that nobody else does. We go the extra mile. We will connect them while they're on campus with principals, meeting Tony, meeting teachers, students. We have an admissions prefect that will come down and meet the family when they're here. Margaret walks them through all of, from lower school all the way up, because we want them to see the full picture of Ben Lippen and what their child will look like when they graduate, what they're paying for. There's a value behind what they're paying for a Ben Lippen education. And for us, it's like I said, our families. So online digital media, I don't know that it looks very different for us. I don't know if that's the right answer. Because
no, that's a good answer, because you already had these strategies implemented.
We're still doing the same thing we were doing. And Rebecca, we have a meeting set up to come in and do a virtual gallery of photos that we want to put on the website. And we want to get some things. And I will say, the connection with other schools, you've been very good with connecting us with other schools. That's one of the big pieces that I would attribute to, is learning what other schools are doing and adding to. But I wouldn't say we're doing a whole lot different, because we're still enrolling every week. We've not missed a week where we've enrolled, and we pride ourselves in that, not in a prideful way, but in a thankful way that the Lord is doing something. He's doing some amazing things. And during our time, we've opened up a science and art science building. And so Margaret and I's office is not in the back anymore. We're in the front. So we're here to meet people. But I will tell you, yesterday I did go sit in the yard of a prospective family and have a conversation, social distancing. So we will meet them where they are.
That's the first I've heard of that one. So that's great, Kelly.
Well, I'll meet them out there.
You'll go beyond. So
I will.
That's awesome.
Let me say, we have I laugh in admissions. If we don't do it, there's another school waiting with an open door. So if we don't do that with excellence, there is another school waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Tony, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, one of the things that ladies have done well across the board is really adjust to the environment. I know when Kelly says we haven't done much, or we still doing the same thing, I think the idea is that we're staying focused with what we know how to do well. But even just the idea of putting the virtual tour online together, having the Zoom meetings, and then the other thing that they've done, if they're willing to do, is, not only have a live Zoom meeting where they tour and walk people across the campus live so that people can actually see, although there's nobody here, they can almost experience it as much as possible. It's up to people to decide, parents to decide how they want to have their questions answered. But what we have said is we're going to do whatever it takes to provide the best experience for our families.
Yeah, that's great. Very good. So just reminding you all, if you have any questions for Tony, Kelly, and Rebecca, go ahead and enter those. But I do want to ask the team, is there any other strategies or advice that you want to share or highlight to those who are watching this afternoon?
I think a lot of our social media campaigns that you kind of suggested to us have been key. Some are dearly loved. Some are loved, some are dearly loved. But especially like the senior spotlights. And we are, speaking of adjustments and then also strategies, we've been doing senior spotlights for the last couple of years, but this year it's key. Since our seniors, and like I said, I have a senior, so it's near and dear to my heart. But we will feature every senior who will respond to me. We will feature them on social media beginning May 1st, so this Friday. And some of our other campaigns, I know a lot of schools do similar things, but we are wrapping up this month. We're doing the Share Ben Lippen month, Share BLS month. Mounds Park Academy does this really well. We borrowed their strategy. Rick, I believe you were the one who suggested it. And it's a challenge because we have to we strive to match the day of the month with a stat or something fun about our school. And then we challenge our viewers, our likers, our followers to share those social media posts. And so some, like our number one was we're number one best Christian high school in Columbia. So that was our number one. But then I think somewhere around 10, I think I didn't have a 10. So it was 10 days till school starts back after spring break. But it's a lot of fun because I get to showcase every area of the school and I get to highlight something that people might not know about our school. Like our dual enrollment classes, we're offering over 20 dual enrollment classes next year. And that is huge. A lot of people even at our school, especially in the lower grades, aren't even aware of that. And so it gives them something that they can share on their own social media and say, hey, did you know? We also do the I Love Ben Lippen in February and Thankful for Ben Lippen in November to tie in with Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. Those are our key. And like I said, we did the Why Ben Lippen in September. As far as adjustments, like Tony said, well, like Kelly said, we're not doing a whole lot different. In my area, I'm doing a little bit different because we're not having chapel in person. Our counselors are not speaking to our students in person, and so they're using videos to reach out. We have, you can see if you look at our social media today, you can see that we have online chapel every week. I post it on Wednesdays. Our spiritual life director gets the video, sends it to me, I post it to YouTube, and then we publish it on our social media and on our website. And then he also does, the spiritual life director also does a word of the week, interviewing having a different faculty member, or last week it was a student, a spiritual life prefect, who was the student who coordinates with the spiritual life director, give a word of the week and tie that into scripture. And then the other two videos, Tony is doing a weekly update video just to keep in touch with our families. That's usually every Friday. And then the fourth new video, these are all new videos that we did not do before the quarantine. The fourth video is one that our counselor directs to our middle school students, and it's called Take Good Care of Yourself. And she challenges our students to take care of themselves in 4 ways. Let's see if I can remember them: spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and gives them ways that they can focus on that and their connection with God, and also taking care of themselves. So she does a new video every week directed directly just at the middle school students.
Yeah, that's great.
Although they're great for everybody. I had one mom comment and say, this was great lunchtime viewing. We watched this at lunchtime and it was great for the whole family. So it really is. You can find all of these on our YouTube channel and also on our website.
Yeah, and if you're not following Ben Lippen, in their social media channels, I highly recommend because Rebecca again is doing a great job. She described a bunch of campaigns that are going on, so you can catch a glimpse of that. We have a question coming in from Rudy Gesh, and so Rudy is asking Kelly this question: how do you go about deciding which schools to visit? What framework do you put around your visit?
Hey, Rudy. I think for me, I can learn from any school something new. But for me, it's always looking at the larger school, a school that's larger than Ben Lippen, because it's a goal to want to grow. Seeking out websites, looking at what do they have that's different, that is intriguing, that can add to what we do. But that, I would say, looking for those larger schools. I've gone to Nashville, to Andover. I've gone to Rudy in New Jersey. I've gone to the Charleston, Hilton Head areas. We're getting ready to go, Margaret and I, to the RenWeb conference. And we tagged on to the First Academy Orlando through one of the shows that I think you did. And it caught our attention, something they shared. And so with us being at RenWeb, we're going to talk with Christy Summers. We're going to go and visit the First Academy. Always setting your sights on how can I learn more? What could we do different? How could we become better? I will say one more off that subject, back to what we were sharing, is in admissions, utilize your parents. Your parents want to be involved. And that is one thing that we've been intentional with, is they want to volunteer somewhere. And so we have formed a committee for each one of our events. So Tony challenged us to do an outside event. So we put together a Touch a Truck event in the fall. And so we've done 2 years and we're getting ready to do a third. While we may not see the benefits right now, what I was doing was actually going and participating in an event across county. And now we're doing a bigger event on our campus, drawing people to our campus that normally would not necessarily drive to us. Like Brook Hill, we are out of the way. All of our families drive anywhere from 10 miles to 30 miles to come to school here. We have 2 campuses. So we're very fortunate, but utilize your parents. Get them involved in a committee. If they're happy and passionate about what they're doing, it takes the work, not necessarily that Margaret and I aren't working as hard, but it helps. It brings a team bigger than just Margaret and I together to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish. But it also bleeds out into your community. They're sharing what they're doing and they're bringing their friends on campus through these events. So this year we're moving forward with a committee for each one. My new committee, Touch a Truck committee, new parent dinner committee, new family tailgate committee, and I have a committee of parents that have come together to lead those and plan those, and then we'll meet with them occasionally during that planning time.
Tony, any final words you want to share as we wrap up?
Rick, I think we've shared a lot of information, and your shows have been great to learn from. And I hope that everyone that joins your show and continues to spread the message understands that every school has their own niche and their own community they're serving. But the information that we can grab from one another as we work together to better our schools, it's really important not to be afraid to ask questions or reach out or go visit, because it's not about just us. It's about how can we serve others. And to me, if we can learn from each other, ask questions, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel, we can utilize, reach out in respect and utilize other people's ideas. It really brings value to our schools. And I appreciate the show that you have and bringing us on to share our stories. But you're doing a great job spreading the message, spreading the wealth, and really bringing all of these schools together and helping the admissions office and marketing offices really strive towards excellence. And I thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for being a part of the show today. I mean, a lot of great insights and perspectives and strategies that you've been implementing. You can obviously see the passion that you have for your school and the successes that you're having along the way. And I'm privileged to have been a part of that. So I thank you for your participation on the show today. And just reminding everyone in the audience that I'm going to be shifting from a twice a week show to once a week. And so I'll be announcing that later. It's probably going to be on a Thursday. And so it'll give you an opportunity to continue to learn and grow as you listen to other schools and educational marketing experts throughout our world. So thank you for participating. If you've enjoyed the show and you've learned something from Tony and Kelly and Rebecca today, share your appreciation maybe in the comments section, click like or love, and just pass that on so that we can all be aware of how you feel about our time together today. So we'll sign off, and thank you all for joining us. Thanks, Tony, Kelly, and Rebecca.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.